I welcome all of you that are interested in understanding this particular concept in maths. Okay, let's look at the question. Sketch the graph of y equals x minus 3 squared plus 2. So here we can see the highest power is 2. So that means we can conclude this is a quadratic equation. So that means we will be sketching a quadratic graph. And for quadratic graphs, what we know is that the shape is a U. It has a U-shaped. Okay, just before we look into that, let us look at the general form of a quadratic function. So the general form is y equals plus or minus a, then inside the bracket x plus or minus b squared plus or minus c. Then all these letters here, a, b and c, they have a meaning. Okay, so this a here is our stretching, and I hope you still remember the conditions. If our a is greater than 1, then from y equals x squared graph, it will be narrower than that. Let's take for example this graph. Okay, so if our a is greater than 1, then it will be narrower than that, so it will be somewhere inside. If our a is between some interval which is less than 1 but greater than -1, then it will be wider than that. Okay, so that is for a, the stretching part. And x plus or minus b, that will be our shifting along x-axis. Shifting along x-axis, and our c will be the shifting along y-axis. Okay, so comparing the general form of a quadratic equation and our question, we can clearly see there's no value in particular given there as our a, but we know that 1 multiplied by anything will still give us the same thing. So that means we can say here that our a is 1, because 1 multiplied by this equation here, it will remain as the same equation. So we can say that our a is equal to 1. And our b is equal to -3, our c is equal to 2. Okay, but remember, we will always start with y equals x squared in order to sketch our graph. So let me just draw our graph here. So that will be our y and our x. Let me just label the graph. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, -1, -2, -3, -4, -1, -2, -3. Okay, so we will always start with this graph y equals x squared. Okay, and for y equals x squared, if you want to know the coordinates, you can take some x values. So let's use -2, -1, 0, 1 and 2. So if we put -2 there, -2 squared will be +4. So if we use -1, this equation y equals x squared. If we use x as -1, we put -1 here in place of x, we will get +1. Okay, so -1, when x is -1, y is +1. When x is -2, y is +4. Same equation, if we put 0 in place of x, 0 squared is nothing but just 0. Okay, we can also use 1 and 2, -2, -1, 0, 1 and 2. So now we're using 1, and 1 squared is just 1. The last one for 2, when x is equal to 2, 2 squared will give us 4. So you can see we have some coordinates there, and we'll be plotting those coordinates. -2, 4. So where's -2, 4? -2, 4 is there. Okay, -1, 1. -1, 1 there. 0, 0, the origin. 1, 1. And the last one is 2 and 4. And then we can join that, all these points, we can join it. So this is our graph of y equals x squared. When we sketch quadratic graphs, we always start with this one, y equals x squared, then we will do the stretching and shifting after that. Okay, the stretching part. You can clearly see that the value of our a is 1. So that means there will be no stretching. We will just use the same graph, which is the graph of y equals x squared to do the shifting. There will be no stretching. We will not narrow this graph or widen it because the value of our a is exactly 1, just 1. So we will just shift this y equals x squared graph, and the shifting, how we will do the shifting. So shifting along the x-axis, we have to know the value of x. It is x minus 3, so x minus 3, we make that equal to 0 in order to know the value of x. So opposite operation, x equals 0 plus 3, so the value of x is 3, and we can clearly see it's a positive 3, so that means we will shift 3 units to the right. So from here, 1, 2, 3, we will shift 3 units to the right. So it will be like that. Then the shifting along the y-axis, it is positive 2, so that means we'll be shifting up 2 units up along the y-axis. It's either up or down, but since it is positive, we'll be shifting up. How many units up? 2 units up. So 1, 2. So that means our final graph is this one, the one in a bold red. So that is the graph of y equals x minus 3 squared plus 2.